My wife, 35 female of 10 years, left me, 36 male, after I discovered I had a son from a previous relationship. She wants to move with our kids. I have been unable to sleep and really struggling. I feel emotionally drained. My wife, Amy, 35 female, left me, 36 male, after I was contacted by an ex and discovered I had a son. I tried to post his age, but my post gets removed, so I just want to clear up that he was born 3 years before I married my wife, and there was absolutely no overlap or cheating in my wife and I's relationship. This happened a month ago, and I requested a paternity test. Amy didn't say much while we waited for results, but agreed that if I was the father, I needed to be in my son's life in every way possible. 2 weeks ago, the results came back that I am the father, and immediately Amy said she wanted a divorce and began packing her and our children's belongings. I was confused and asked her why, but she just cried and said she loved me. Amy and I have been married for 10 years. Okay, so that means the son is 13 years old. Our marriage has been pretty damn close to perfect. No serious arguments, same goals. We've traveled the world together. We have a beautiful home, rewarding careers, and fantastic children together. I'm so heartbroken that she's thrown everything away. I feel like my life has been destroyed. I have no clue what to do. I have begged and pleaded for therapy, and my wife refuses. She has started the divorce process. The next issue is custody of our children in terms of divorce. All 4 of our children are young, not even in school yet. She says if I agree to give her primary custody, she will let me have the house and will not want child support, and will give me all of our savings so I can raise my son as his mother is struggling. She also agreed to pay for some home help for me. I am disabled and need some help occasionally during flare-ups, which she usually provides. I told her I could afford it on my own, but she insists as she says she wants to help out since she won't be there. She will move across the country with our 2 children, but said she will bring them for at least 2 weeks every 2 months so I can have a relationship with them, and will pay for me to fly out to see them whenever I want. I don't know what to do. I have no family to discuss this with because 2 of mine and Amy's children are adopted. And my parents and extended family think my biological son is more important than them, which is obviously untrue. It makes me feel horrible, but I don't even know my son. It feels like I'm losing everything for a person I don't know. And I know he's a child and I shouldn't feel that way. But all I ever wanted was my wife and kids. And while I love my son and take care of him, I don't feel like he is my kid yet just because I haven't really had time to get to know him. A month ago, I wouldn't have recognized him if I saw him on the street. I feel so much guilt for feeling this way. Amy and I are fairly well off, but she is more so than me. She offered to hire me a lawyer of my choosing if I don't agree with her terms. I told her again I could afford it, but she says she just wants to make sure I get a fair deal. But I just can't. I don't want to divorce or lose my children. I love my wife and children more than anything. I just don't understand her motives or why she is doing this. It feels like I have to pick my son or my wife and our shared kids. I keep trying to make sense of it in my mind. She will not tell me any reason for wanting to get divorced. She's even being incredibly nice to my son. His birthday had recently passed and she got him a new game system. They haven't met. She said it was from myself and his siblings. She even told me what her nephew, who is the same age as my son, is into so that I can get things my son might like. I don't even know what advice I'm looking for. It feels like my life has been completely ruined. I'm in therapy, but it doesn't seem to help. A month ago, my wife and I were planning or trying for another baby and picking our next vacation spot, and now I'm going to be divorced? How do I move on? How do I not unfairly resent my son when I know it's not his fault? I keep hoping there's a way to convince her to stay, but I don't even know what the problem really is. I'm hoping someone else has been through learning they have a child after 10 plus years and know where to start or what I can do to either move on or convince my wife that this doesn't have to happen. Any advice at all is appreciated though. I think this is really bizarre. While every person is entitled to their own right, she's well within her means to want to leave. But if he did, this happened before you guys were even married or introduced. I don't understand why the first thought is divorce. I mean, you already have adopted kids. What's the difference by having one more? You know, that's the way I'm trying to think if I was put into my situation, right? Like, I feel like divorce is kind of extreme, especially since she seems so sympathetic and everything. I feel like we're missing something. This can't be the entire story.
Storytime about falling into a dug-up grave. So a little background information, my dad was a teenager in the late 1950s, and he used to work at this restaurant that was near a local cemetery. Now to get to work, he could either run through the cemetery or go around the cemetery. And more often than not, he would just go through the cemetery because nobody wants to add an extra 10 or 15 minutes to their walk, especially to work. Now, being 15 years old, going through the cemetery at night still low-key scared him. So the one night he got off of work and he was running home through the cemetery and he fell into a dug-up grave. And my dad was not a big guy, so he tried to get out of there as best as he could, but after a few hours, he just gave up. Now, I guess some other kid had the same exact idea that he did, so he hears footsteps quickly approaching the grave, and then all of a sudden, some kid falls into the dug-up grave with him. So after a few minutes of watching this kid try to get out of the grave as well, my dad goes, "You know you're never gonna get out of here, right?" My dad said this kid jumped up 6 feet and ran. Pretty funny story from my dad's point of view, but pretty scary for the other kid.
Being just a few minutes late for my OBGYN appointment is my ultimate sorry I'm late. I just did not want to come because it's my least favorite way to spend my money because first of all, they always make me take off my socks and I am a socks on neurospicy person. I like thick, high quality socks and I like to wear them all the time. But every time you go to the cookie doctor and you get in that little exam room, they're always like, "Welcome. As you can probably already tell, we've made it a cozy 55 degrees Fahrenheit in here for you. Please let us know if that's a little bit too warm. Go ahead and slip into this paper thin robe that 100 strangers have worn before you, but before you do that, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. First of all, are there any irregularities going on with you that you'd like to report today?" And I'm like, "Everything about me is irregular. That's why I'm here." And they go, "Okay, thank you. Do any cancers run in your family?" And I'm always like, "No, not really. I mean, like, just my one aunt. And then one other aunt. And also my grandma. Is that important?" And they say, "Yes, this is the kind of information we like to have. When was your last full checkup?" And at this point, I don't want to say, but they're always so comforting and non-judgmental. They're like, "You can go ahead and tell us. We've literally seen everything. We just want to help you." And so I tell her the date of my last full checkup, and she was like, "Girl!" And I was like, "I know, Michelle! I know! I don't have health care, okay?" And then she's like, "Okay, well, we'll get you all taken care of today." And then the doctor comes in, and it's not enough that I don't want to be awkward in front of the doctor. I want to be like cool in front of the doctor, but I never am. I always put my robe on backwards, and I always narrate my entire experience out loud. And most of it is just me talking about how much I don't want to be there. I'm like, "Oh, I hate..." Oh, there's a squirrel with a nut right outside my window. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. Anyway, my whole interaction with my doctor is just me saying, "I hate this so much. I do not want to be..." I mean, thank you for helping keep me healthy, doctor. But man, this is just miserable. I don't want to be here. And I actually do cuss a little, but I didn't cuss on my last appointment because while I was sitting in the waiting room, I noticed that, you know how they always have magazines for you to read in the waiting room? I looked over and they had those, but they also had a Bible. And I was like, "Ooh, I didn't know this was a Bible clinic. Should I read about the Kardashians or Jesus?" So I didn't finish saying any of the cuss words that I started to say in front of the doctor. Although I'm sure in her line of work that would be nothing new for her.
Would I be wrong if I said I had a problem with my fiance adding a ring enhancer to the engagement ring that I just gave her? For some added context, here's a picture of the ring enhancer that her mom gave her, and honestly, I'm not sure how I should feel. So last week, I celebrated my 2-year anniversary with my girlfriend and really went all out to make it an amazing weekend. At the very end, I ended with a surprise proposal and got her a beautiful ring. Simple classic style with smaller diamonds running down on the face of the band with a 1-carat diamond sitting on top. It also came with a set with the matching wedding band that really made the whole thing look amazing. And I basically worked 2 full-time jobs to be able to save up and buy this for her along with the rest of the weekend plans. Anyways, the proposal went great and she was completely surprised. I even had a photographer lined up to capture the moment. She and everybody loved the ring, but it was a tad big, so we planned to get it resized. Fast forward to today when she texted me at her mom's house saying we might not have to get it resized. Would I be wrong if I said I had a problem with my fiance adding a ring enhancer to the engagement ring I just gave her? She tells me we might not have to get the ring resized because her mom gave her a nice ring holder to keep it in place and sends me a picture of this ring guard. I will admit it's very nice, but it almost swallows up her whole ring finger and completely changes the appearance of the ring I gave her. Here's a picture. So I told her I don't think it's gonna work after we add the wedding band. She replied she can split further apart to make the space and told me if I don't like it, she doesn't have to wear it, but in the same text she said she loves it. And mentions this ring holder her mom is giving her is $3,000. Not that monetary value is what matters, but I just spent shy of 10 grand on her engagement ring set, so I'm a little offended. I just don't like the fact that the wedding and engagement ring is meant to be for me and she wants to add more to it from someone else, even if it's her mom. And again, to me the enhancer is so big, it swallows the ring itself.